Hey guys, Sneaky Snake here, brothers in arms, World of Warships, and today's video we're going to take a look at our next teamwork replay. And this one features myself and Dastert playing on Loop, some domination. He's playing in the Yamato, the tier 10 Japanese battleship, and I'm playing in the Khabarovsk, the tier 10 Soviet quote-unquote cruiser, but of course it is a destroyer by nature. So this replay you're going to see is one of the most incredible damage combinations that I've ever had playing with anybody in this game. Both of us are going to go over the 200,000 damage mark, both of us are going to pick up Confederate and high caliber, and both of us are going to be the spearhead that leads our team to victory. And this replay that you're going to see here was one that was kind of casual, in all honesty. You're never going to see us get in a position where we are in that much relative danger, I guess. Dastert and I are just going to go and do our thing on somewhat opposite sides of the map, and we both wiped the floor with a little bit of teamwork, of course, because this is, after all, a teamwork video. So at the beginning of the game, we decided to go over to the A cap. Now, I'm a creature of habit. Whenever I play random battles, at least, I tend to do the same things, irregardless of the ship type, irregardless of the ship class. I just like to go to the same parts of the map because I feel very comfortable in working in those said areas. And for me, on the south spawn on Loop, it's definitely going towards the A cap. And there is a friendly destroyer over there, a Benson, that is going to be moving on to it. So I figured that I can help him out and do what the Khabarovsk is really adept at doing. And that is being a good second-line support destroyer. Because, of course, I have the terrible concealment of 9.7 kilometers. I want that Benson to get out in front of me and spot potential destroyers moving into A. And then I'll be able to provide some very good support in the form of the 8 130mm guns that the Khabarovsk is so infamous for. So while I'm going to be going over there to help him out, you can see that there is a destroyer on the A cap because it is being contested now. There's a little bit of red up there on that cap. We're going to be switching over to Dastert's perspective, as he's going to get a few long-range salvos off here at the beginning of the game. Now, we all know what the Yamato is the best at, and that is it has the best set of guns on any battleship in the game, period. No questions asked. End of story. And his first salvo is going to be with the spot plane getting up to try and lob some shells over the island that's over there at, let's see, Charlie 4. Charlie 4. His shells are going down range at the Missouri, and even though only 2 shells hit, both of them are penetrations, and he does almost 10,000 damage on his opening salvo. So that was a very good one to start off the round with. And now his attention is going to be focused over towards the C cap, is that there's not only a Charles Martel making his way over into the cap, but there's also going to be a Moskva that appears right about now. So there we go. And he's going to toss his next salvo downrange at that tier 10 Soviet heavy cruiser. Now, of course, the Yamato's guns are not only capable of penetrating every bit of armor in the game, but they also hurt, and they're very darn accurate. And a very good salvo right there. 34,000 points of damage with a double citadel. Only 3 shells hit, but you can see the kind of alpha strike that these Yamato guns have. Only 3 shells, but since 2 were citadels, he managed to have an absolute kraken of a salvo. And that guy got reduced by 2/3 hit points with the snap of a finger. His next salvo is going to go downrange once again at the Moskva, trying to get that kill. But unfortunately for him, the Moskva speeds up just in the nick of time, and all of his shells fall harmlessly off the stern. But regardless of that, 3 salvos so far, and he's already up to 44,000 damage. That really does separate a good battleship player from just an average or a decent battleship player. It's that ability to hit big, meaty salvos at range, and you're going to see a few more of those over the course of this game. Going back to my perspective, I'm now moving out of the A cap. Myself and the Benson were able to get it successfully captured for our team, so I am, of course, going to go over into the vicinity of B and see what I can do over there. Now, I'm going to play with the rudder, I'm going to play with the speed here, and show you why the Khabarovsk is also a very tough target to hit as well. I pull on the brakes completely to throw off the entire salvo from the Missouri, and now I'm going to switch to the armor piercing, and even though he's over 10 kilometers away, this armor piercing shot is able to do some very good damage. 3,200 on the very first salvo, 2,200 on the next one. And this is the Stellinium shells in action, another 3K salvo. And now I'm going to speed up once more and get behind this island so that the Missouri shells, because they're so slow, they're not going to have enough time to be able to get to me before I get behind the cover and concealment. So a very nice juke right there. As we switch back to Dastert's perspective, he had a salvo go downrange at the enemy Seattle. Only 1 shell hit, but of course it was another juicy citadel for citadel number 3 of the game for him. His next salvo, he's going to get his gun swinging into play. Another thing that you'll see a lot of, decent, average, maybe slightly better than good Yamato players do is that they're a little timid to use that rear turret because, of course, the Yamato has that cheek citadel, that octagonal citadel in front of the A turret. And when you do open up your broadside to use all three of your guns, you do put yourself at a disadvantage because an enemy battleship is able to get a citadel there. However, because he was at such a long range, there's no reason to not use your rear turret, and he was able to get a nice 14,500 damaging salvo there on the Friedrich Grosse. In the meantime, I've speed boosted my way into the B cap. Unfortunately, this poor Benson is in the cap as well, and a Benson versus a Kaba, this is about as lopsided of a destroyer fight as you could probably get. He's going to do a few bits and pieces of damage to me, but of course I'm using my heal, so it doesn't really matter, as I'm going to be able to get back the majority of the damage that I take, and I do pick up the first blood on that Tier 8 American destroyer, as I now switch my focus to the enemy Republik, as he is now making a turn to starboard to try and get away from the B cap, and I wouldn't want to mess with me either, and a Republik with only 8 guns and some shoddy accuracy is not the most effective ship to try and engage a Khabarovsk at any meaningful range, and he turns away because he sees the push that is coming. You can see Dastert on the minimap. He's getting ready to make his turn to the right, and the rest of my team that did go over to the A cap are now going to be coming back here over in the vicinity of the B cap. So the enemy team has already been pushed on the eastern half of the map, and we are going to take control of this game here relatively soon. There's still only one ship that's been destroyed so far, and that is, of course, the Benson, which I just killed a little bit ago. But now this enemy Missouri, who decided to circle back, he's already dead. He just doesn't know it yet. He's getting focused from multiple ships, and I am, of course, going to switch to the armor piercing and once again show you the power of these Soviet 130mm guns, as he is now full broadside to me, and there we go. The first salvo going downrange, another 3K plus salvo. Switching back to Dastert's perspective, he's got the guns reloaded on 7 seconds. He had a pretty decent salvo on the first one that he shot at the Missouri, so now we're going to see if he's going to be able to finish off the kill here. The 2 forward guns shooting, and even with a little bit of shoddy accuracy, that shell at the top right is going to penetrate easily through the bow, and he picks up his first kill of the game, up to 96,000 points of damage. Now he's going to beeline it straight into the B objective, go sit in there, and basically pretend to be the fort and the pillbox that you see a lot of Yamato players try and emulate. So with that being the case, he is going to make his way over there. We're going to then switch back to my perspective here any second, and I am now kiting away from the B cap. As you can see that the enemy team has tried to push a quartet of ships around the southeastern side of the B cap. There's a Republik, there's a Charles Martel, there's a Yamato, and then there's the Moskva that Dastert did hit early on in the game that's also sitting there at the corner. However, the enemy team is being a little bit too passive here. Really, the only ship that's trying to push the corner at the moment is the Republik, and it's unfortunate for the enemy team because, of course, he is now going to be the focus of our attention, and he's going to be getting focused down by not just myself. Unfortunately, some torpedoes from the friendly destroyer that's off my stern just ran out of range right before they got there. However, once again, I'm just going to continue shooting at this guy. I got my heal going, so I'm going to get some HP back, of course, and I've also been duck, dip, diving, and dodging myself away from the shells that he's shooting at me, and once again, as I pull on the brakes very hard, he actually has a pretty decent shot at me, but unfortunately, the shells landed just a little bit off of my bow, and you can see that because the Republik has 32mm of armor everywhere, and not just that, but there's so much superstructure at 19mm to hit, I have no trouble getting plenty of penetrations with these shells right into the superstructure of that French battleship. And that's the thing about the Republik. It is not capable of standing up to damage saturation very well because there's so many parts of the ship that just eat lots and lots of penetrations. So I'm going to continue to sit out here in the open and just continue to farm away on this guy. I'm up to about 130,000 points of damage, which is right at about my average for this ship. But as I mentioned before, there's going to be plenty more damage that needs to be done. You saw some shells go flying in there. That was from Dastert getting a decent hit on the guy. He is now entering the B cap and capping it as we speak. So we're going to switch back to his perspective. And you're going to see this little cheek citadel, this octagonal citadel that I've talked about already in this game. The Yamato is going to push around the corner. Dastert has all of his guns ready to shoot at this guy. He is turning in a little bit to the right, and Dastert does get some pretty crappy dispersion, but you can see that shell that lands right in front of the A turret does manage to get the citadel, and he gets a pretty decent 21,000 points of damage out of that last broadside, pushing his damage total to 125. Now what he's going to do is try and reverse and angle up a little bit better, but still be able to use his rear gun. I know that the angle that he's at right now, if the Yamato wanted to shoot at him, he could still get that Citadel at that angle. But again, there's no reason for him to not use his rear turret right now. He shoots a little bit too high into the Moskva with 6 over penetrations, but he still manages to do over 13,000 points of damage, which is a very good salvo. We do momentarily lose the lead, as a matter of fact. However, I continue to chase down this Republic and burn him to the ground as I pick up my first kill. Our team manages to get 3 kills, make that 4 kills in a period of about 10 seconds. So a whole bunch of ships dying, and we quickly regain a 200-point lead. You saw some shells right there from Dastert, some over penetrations. I'm now going to try to get him to turn broadside to me, or at least turn towards me, so then that should open up the broadside to Dastert. I'm immediately going to get into a kiting position and slow down, switch to the armor-piercing shot here. Hopefully I'll be able to dodge his salvo, and that's exactly what happens, because the Khaba just moves so darn fast. It's kind of hard to tell how fast it really is going at some points, and I do turn him now back broadside once again to Dastert, and he gets a Confederate, 14,000 damage, and he picks up his second kill of the game. So a very nice salvo right there. He does, at least sitting on the B cap, get his cap counter reset, because there are a couple ships that are off his front. There's a Friedrich de Grosse and the Dmitry Donskoy, but now once again he's going to turn broadside just enough to get his rear turret into play. He's going to pump a nice salvo right into the broadside of that big German behemoth, and then he's going to turn back to the right and angle up again. 19,000 points of damage. Very meaty salvo right there. Unfortunately no citadels, but of course the German battleships have that notorious turtle back, and the guy is shooting high explosive. I just sometimes you can't make up the just interesting. We'll make it politically correct. The interesting plays that some of the enemy ships have done in this game. I just really don't understand that. But regardless of that, another big meaty salvo, another 10k plus. I've lost track of how many 10k plus salvos that he's had. So you might think that the Freddy would switch to armor piercing, and unfortunately he shoots the high explosive yet again. He does 6,000 damage, but now he's actually stumbled into my range as I've continued to push around the corner. I do drop my torpedoes just in case he keeps the full speed going. I get a fire set, I pick up high caliber, I pick up Confederate as well. So now both of us has picked up Confederate, while I've gotten the high caliber, of course. And not too long after this, I'm actually going to get Witherer as well, as I've already cracked 215,000 points of damage. There we go. I switch my focus now to the enemy Dmitry Donskoy, who's trying to engage me at range, at about my maximum range, that is. And you're going to see here, when a Khaba is played correctly, just the kind of damage that you can do to other cruisers that are trying to hit you. And the Dmitry Donskoy has excellent AP shell and HE shell velocity, and it doesn't matter. I've already got 2 fires set on him. He is using his heal. He realizes this engagement that he's getting into right now is not going to be beneficial to him. I still have 3/4 of my hit points and another heal. So this guy would have to get back to back to back to back meaty salvos on me, but because I'm moving so fast, he's having a really hard time hitting me. In the meantime, Dastert tried to sneak his rear turret over the corner of the island. He was able to do so, but he was a little short. The enemy Cleveland gets spotted. Unfortunately, that poor guy must have disconnected from the game, as he is at about full health, sitting behind the island. Dastert's next forward gun salute goes out for about 8,000 damage. He's now going to swing his rear turret into play and try to get this kill here on the Donskoy. I continue to burn that guy to the ground. He's down to about 4,000 hit points, which is just hilarious. And we're going to see if Dastert's going to be able to get the kill secure here on this guy for number 3. His secondaries gives him the high caliber, and then his rear turret slams home. He manages to get the very nice kill, and then another 19,000 damage there on the enemy Cleveland. He decides that he's now going to try and shoot at the Republic and potentially get a double strike, let his secondaries at point blank sub 2 kilometer range continue to ram into the Cleveland. Now he's going to get his guns turned here for the Republic. There are a few friendlies that are north of him that could potentially get the kill on the Cleveland. We will see who does. However, Dastert is now reloaded and ready to go. Unfortunately, somebody else's secondaries get the kill, but he finishes off the Republic, and that ends the game here on Loop. Alrighty guys, taking a look now at the post-battle results. For Dastert, 11,205 total experience earned. He picked up Confederate and high caliber, dealing 246,900 points of damage off of 68 shell hits. He sank 4 enemy ships, had 6 citadels, 1 assisted base capture, and 29 secondary hits. Taking a look at my post-battle results, 14,132 total experience earned. I picked up Confederate, Witherer, First Blood, and High Caliber, dealing 244,000 points of damage off of 594 shell hits. I sank 3 enemy ships, had 16 fire set, and had 1 assisted base capture. Between the two of us, we combined for over 490,000 points of damage. He also had 2,900 base XP, and I had 2,660 base XP. So that was an absolute kraken of a game. Dastert and I dealing lots of damage, having just a massive carry for our team. It was never really in doubt because we were kicking so much butt, and with that performance, we were both able to definitely claim that we had some monster games which helped our team to victory. So I hope you guys enjoyed this replay. Please consider giving the video a like, commenting on it, sharing it with your friends, whatever you want to do. Thank you for the support that you give us to our channel, and have a fantastic day.